Listen to them. Children of the night. What music.
Listen to this track, bitch. DJ D, Chopping School. I built this family on loyalty. Count another grip, smoke another zip. Young niggas tell it I be on my shit. Make 100K, started the day. What can I say? My DNA is G-Von swag.
Okay, in your opinion, why do you think some girls choose to, how would I say, sleep around, you know?
I think girls sometimes choose to do that, but maybe more often than not, they really don't choose that. They have low self-esteem, and they think that's a good way to get attention, when in reality, it's not in the long run. But I really believe that more often than not, they just don't realize they have low self-esteem, and they just want to be loved and accepted.
In your opinion, can a person be born homosexual? Why not?
That's interesting. I've never really thought about it, but to give you an answer, from a Christian point of view, we're born into sin. So, I mean, the minute I think you're conceived and you're in the womb, you're still sinful. I mean, that's the nature of it. And so maybe yes. Yeah.
How do you feel about abortions?
I don't like the idea of abortion. I know that in certain circumstances that it has to be done. But I think there's other options. There's so many options nowadays. First off, not to get pregnant. Both men and women should be responsible on that accord. And then, you know, if everyone was responsible, I know that's idealistic, but then you wouldn't have to worry about abortions. But there's also other ways to handle the situation. The child can be put up for adoption. There's so many people that can't have children that would like them. But I think acting responsibly is the first step we need to take.
Do you think gay marriage should be accepted all over the U.S.?
No. There's
Why?
the answer. Why? Like I said, from a Christian viewpoint, I think God defines it well in the Bible that a marriage is between a husband and a wife. And so, no.
If women were elected presidents all over the world, do you think there would be any more wars?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
You know, people tend to think that women are the gentler sex, but that's not necessarily true. Women can be just as vicious, maybe more vicious, especially when they feel threatened or their children are threatened. Whatever the case, women have that aggressiveness in them, the same as the males, and I think that women would do a good job, but I still think that that's one of our primal responses. You either, it's flight or fight, and women will fight the same as a man will.
What do you think is a good defense in order to prevent sexual violence, as in rape?
A good defense for
To
prevent it. I think women need to be educated on many different issues. First off, they need to learn to protect themselves from that. Maybe they need awareness counseling on how to possibly recognize a bad relationship, because you know, rape usually occurs from someone you know. And we're talking about adults here. Child rape, I can't address that. I wouldn't even know where to begin. So women need more education on that. But I think men as well need to be educated on what rape is. And that when a woman says no, she means no, and don't pursue the issue. Stop right then, regardless of your thoughts at that point. But yeah, I think we need more education all the way around.
Do you believe that life is easier for men while women?
No. I think life is easier when you, this may be controversial, but life is easier when you accept the fact that we're not ultimately in control, that God's in control of it, and that He gives us our hardships for the betterment of us. And for some people, that's going to be difficult to accept simply because they go through many tragedies in life. But I do think that once we're willing to accept that and take our tragedies as positives and try to see how much of a stronger person we can become through our trials and tribulations, then we would be much better off. And I think everybody has their own trials that they go through, men and women equally. So.
Okay. Before you got married, what was the cheapest thing your boyfriend had ever done for you?
The cheapest thing, probably since I lived here in Tyler, Texas, was buying me roses from a street vendor. And, back in the day, roses were 50 cents a dozen, not the $2 a dozen that they are today. So, yeah, probably that.
Okay. Okay, well, this next one is very opinionated. Do you think that all black men are bigger in structure?
No. I've
It's
never
a gender
had.
stereotype.
Okay. Yeah, it is a stereotype. I'll tell you, my husband and I did discuss it one time, and since he played football, I know it's a funny discussion to have, but since he played football, he said that's not necessarily true. And so there you go. I've never had any experiences personally, but I have to take his word for it. How about that?
Okay, why do you think some people have trouble understanding that there are more fish out there in the sea? Why?
Well, I think we limit ourselves. I think it's our own fault. All of us have so much more potential than what we're willing to admit or what we're willing to give. And I think sometimes we sell ourselves short because if we get in a relationship that's not any good, we think, what did I do wrong? And it's not necessarily that you did anything wrong, and you kind of beat yourself up over that. Or I just think we sell ourselves short, or we look around and we see all these people and we think they're in great relationships, and in reality they may not be. Our perceptions and our self-esteem and our selling ourselves short get in the way of all of that.
Well, next question. In your opinion, but I want you to answer this also as a parent.
Okay.
What do you think is the appropriate age to start dating?
I think it depends on the child, to be honest, but 16 is still too young for male or female. 17, it would be nice if maybe they just went out with friends and hung out with a big group, and there's none of this promise to date or to be exclusive or any of that. And maybe by the time they're seniors in high school, you want them to have relationships so they can learn how to handle the ups and downs of those relationships, but you want it in a very controlled environment. So when the hurt does come, as a parent, you're there to help the child see that it's not the end of the world, that it's everything's going to be fine, and that God has an ultimate plan for you to find your significant other, whoever that may be. It may be way down the line in life, but you've got to understand that.
Okay. Do you think cheaters ever change? And why?
Do I think cheaters are what? I'm sorry.
Ever change?
It takes a lot to change a person. I think maybe there can be instances where the cheater has a jolt of reality and stops that. But for the most part, I think once you hit about, to be honest, once you hit about 15, 16, 17, your personality's pretty much set. And it's
What is your type and why?
I guess just open-minded in general. Like any type of girl, just as long as she can think for herself.
If you find your girlfriend flirting with other guys, would you take that as cheating?
Not cheating, but I would express that I have a problem with it.
Why?
Why? Well, I mean, if we're going to be monogamous, then I would prefer her not, flirt around like she's looking for somebody else.
What makes a woman promiscuous? Like, let's say as in a quote-unquote hoe, and why?
Just constantly after the physical aspect of being with a person and getting nothing else out of it.
Would you be upset if your best friend recently started dating your ex? Why?
No, because we broke up for a reason, and as far as I'm concerned, she's free game, so to speak.
If a woman were to get hit by her man right in front of you, what do you do in that situation?
Probably confront the guy.
Why?
Well, it's obviously wrong. Any kind of violence, especially in public, shouldn't be, done. And especially if it's a much larger man versus a much smaller woman. Like, that's not even a fair fight, first of all. So.
If you like a hot girl, but your close friends suspect her of being a quote-unquote hoe, do you believe it right away, or do you want to figure out for yourself?
I tend to figure it out for myself. I'd keep distance, but just don't take their word for it,
Why though?
What?
Why?
Why? Well, this goes back to thinking for yourself. I mean, if you just go by what people tell you, it may or may not actually be true. They could just be making it seem worse than it actually is.
Can you see yourself dating a woman who is not American?
Oh yeah. Like, there's no reason to just be like, oh, she's not American. There's no way I'm going after that. That's ridiculous.
Would you ever consider dating a chick that is fat?
Honestly, no. Just because obviously not obviously, I mean, she could have a problem, but she might not take care of herself, and in turn, it may affect the relationship in that aspect, like personality-wise.
Do you think that you're capable of hooking up with like any type of girl, or do you actually think there are girls out there who are too good for you?
I think everybody has the capability. It's just nerves and fear that get the best of people, that they may come up with these notions that somebody is better than another person.
Okay. Last question, really important question too. These two questions really in one. Okay. In general, what does the word love mean to you, and what is love? How do you describe it in one word?
Loyalty, probably. Loyalty and just being able to have fun with somebody. Like, I feel like the person you fall in love with should be your best friend in essence. And if you can't connect like you and your current best friend, guy or girl, then there's no way that the romance is gonna stay alive for very long. And especially if it's built on just a physical attraction, it's not gonna last very long.
Okay, so loyalty be the one word, and what does love mean to you? Can I say that?
Yeah, being just basically being with your best friend.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, man.